Neither of us wrote fiction, and we just kind of did a crash course, taught ourselves. We used a lot of amazing resources online, Manuscript Academy, Gotham Writers.
This book helped a lot.
Oh my
It's
God.
called Wired for Story. It's a really good book for new writers. I felt like I got a lot of tips and tricks in
We
here.
read Stephen King's book on writing. We kind of read voraciously all of the books in our genre too, to kind of get ideas and see what we liked and didn't like.
So we read books like Anne Lamott, Bird by Bird, and we took workshops. What I chose to do is our book had two main POVs. So I took one POV, Greta, and Nicole took the other POV, Colette, and we just ended up merging the two, probably about halfway through.
Yeah. We had a basic idea of the story, the bones of the story, and so we kind of just, okay, I'm going to write 2 chapters and you write 2 chapters and let's make it work. It doesn't always work, so we'd have to kind of, okay, we need to add something or go back and forth. And then we edit each other's chapters, and then that's usually when things get very dicey.
That's when we start arguing. Sometimes I'll even say I hate that idea, but then I will sleep on it. And in the morning, I'm like, you know what? I could see it working.
Yeah, it's hard, like a creative project like this, and then you think something's so great, and then the person's like, no, I don't like it. And then you're like, ugh. But usually it's right.
We come back around sometimes to like the person's idea that was shot down.
Yeah.
We'll find ourselves coming back around and saying, you know what, I think it'll work. Like when you wanted to add like the grandma POV, and at first I was like, I don't know, I'm lukewarm about it, but then I like slept on it, and then I was like, okay, it's gonna work.
Actually, we actually have nothing in common. We have nothing in common.
I know, we're very different, and I think that conflict sparks creativity, so I feel like it's kind of like our edginess with each other works on the page. We trust each other business-wise, and there are a lot of really good things where we have each other's back. It's not all bad.
I think we get excited and passionate about the same things, which is what matters. I mean, when we
Yes.
got, going to figure out how to get an agent or figure out the ending of our story or anything like that.
Or the
we
fun
both
we
get
had at Pitch
so
Fest.
excited, and we get like so, even if we are like, have 2 different visions of what it's going to be, like when it all comes together, it's just like amazing. It's so great. We always say too, no matter what happens, doing all of this alone, which is how traditionally most writers do it, seems very daunting and scary. I'm happy that I have a partner.
Yes, and it's so great to write a chapter and get that instant feedback and the instant editing and the instant, you have to book an editor like a month out, whereas I can write a chapter, send it to her and be like, can you read this tonight? And it's really good to get that feedback in the morning, and then you get to keep writing. And I feel like not editing, also the fact that we can let each other kind of write and not edit and just be creative, that's really fun too, because there's no judgment, because we're both new at it. So it's not like if you're a new writer and you write something and you send it to your editor and they mark it all up with red, it could be, not feel so good. Whereas I feel like you're like, I don't know, I don't think this works, but I have no idea. So being both new, I think made it more fun. In 2 months' time, when we were like, wow, we wrote a book in like 2 months, we realized how much pockets of time there are where you can write. And a lot of writers, I think, struggle with finding that they think that they have to have, okay, I'm gonna wake up every day at 5 and write from 5 to 7, or I'm gonna schedule my whole Thursday to write. And we kind of fit it in the cracks, and it worked. We got a lot done in a little bit of time.
I love that thrill of a book where you're like blindsided at the end, and our book is like that. So I was so excited about it. Everyone's watching these shows on Netflix or Amazon where you're next thing you know, you're on episode 4, you're like totally into this and you want to know who did it. It's like that where you can't stop. That's like our book. That's how our book is. And we needed to get the story out on paper, and we were both like so passionate. And when we figured out the ending, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like I couldn't wait to get to the ending so that we could like get it all together. It came out great.
I feel the exact same way. I mean, I think it was so much fun. In the beginning, we weren't thinking about getting an agent, getting an editor, getting a publisher. We were just like so passionate. Like we had to get this story down on paper.